So ministry to female offenders. What kinds of crimes do women commit? What do they commit? Normally, I would let you tell me, but I'm going to tell you. Shoplifting, forgery and fraud, robbery, drug-related, prostitution, crimes of passion. Now, which one do you think that they commit the most?
Shoplifting.
Shoplifting. Okay. Anybody, anything different?
Crimes of passion.
Crimes of passion. Interesting. Anybody else?
Drugs.
Drugs. Drugs. It is actually drug-related crimes. They're more involved with drug-related crimes than anything else. Women. Men do some of all that. Now, 9 out of 10 women in prison are substance abusers. Often their boyfriends, husbands, even some parents led them into substance abuse. 9 out of 10 women are in prison as substance abusers. 1 of 3 women in prison and jail is being held for drug offenses rather than for violent crimes. Many are charged as accessories to crimes committed by who? By men. The minor crimes that carry long prison sentences or mandatory minimums involve drug conspiracy. I don't know if you remember this young lady. She's from Virginia, Kimber Smith. She became internationally known. Why? Because she was sentenced to 24 years for being what the federal prosecutor described as a minor player in a big drug conspiracy case. The judge who sentenced Kimber did not believe the battered woman syndrome existed. He decided that the 20-year-old college student should have been able to think despite being beaten and mentally abused by her boyfriend. So he sentenced her to 24 years. And if it had not been for President Bill Clinton, she would have never been released from prison. So he commuted her sentence and she was released from prison after serving 8 months. Physical and sexual abuse. Women prisoners have significant histories of physical and sexual abuse. If you look at it, 84% of all women in prison have been abused as children before they went to prison. They have been abused as children in the home or in the community. Now, an interesting side effect of that is that 50% of female correctional officers have also been abused as children. 50%. I said of female correctional officers because there are male correctional officers too. Most of them were abused before they were 18 years of age. More than 80% of female offenders in the United States have suffered severe and prolonged physical and or sexual abuse. Many grew up in homes with domestic violence, and so they end up in abusive relationships. If you get abused as a child, 9 times out of 10, you're going to end up in an abused relationship unless the Lord steps in. Even while incarcerated, some still suffer sexual abuse by staff, by male staff. I know of a guy that used to be a captain in the prison where I served as a chaplain. He got caught up with a woman there, and she had a baby by him. Obviously, he lost his job, and where is he today? In prison. So you gotta, you know, if you work in prison, in a female prison, men, pay attention to what you're doing. And we'll cover that a little bit more. Battered women who resort to homicide have often tried repeatedly to obtain protection from their abusers. But the same legal system that fails to protect them prosecutes them vigorously when they fight back. That's odd. The same system that fails to protect them prosecutes them vigorously when they fight back. Women in prison are less likely to be involved in homicide than men. Yet, they tend to receive longer sentences for that crime even when committed in self-defense. Even when committed in self-defense, they tend to serve longer sentences for homicide than men. According to several authors on the issue of violence against women, homicide by women is often a response to preceding years of abuse from men. Women often face harsher penalties than men who kill their partners. Harsher penalties. That's sad. Taking the most hurt people out of society and punishing them in order to teach them how to live within society is at best futile. You take a woman out of society, you place her in an abnormal situation, and you say, we're going to teach you how to live in society. That doesn't make sense to me. Whatever else a prisoner knows, she knows everything there is to know about punishment because that is exactly what she has grown up with. Whether it is in childhood sexual abuse, indifference, neglect, punishment is most familiar to her. Now, how many of you think that women and men go to prison to be punished? Anybody? All right. How many of you think that prison is punishment? Prison is punishment. Taking away a person's freedom is punishment. And this is why we try not to punish them while they are there anymore. We try not to heap abuse on them any further than just taking away their freedom unless they do something in there. Now, when you think about it, thank you, sir. When you think about it, some people get upset because we have air conditioning, carpeting, and color television. Why is that there, though? That's there to control the prisoners. Because in any woman, female prison, you have about 600 to 6,000 women, depending on your location. But you have 1/3 of that with correctional officers. There's no way that 1/3 can control 6,000. So the other stuff is to keep them under control. Are you with me? Some are alcoholics and drug addicts whose lives are out of their control. Many of them are con artists, willing to say anything to get what they want. Many are depressed and angry enough to kill themselves or someone else. Some women are locked up simply because they are codependent and don't even know it. Codependent and don't even know it. If she tells you that she is in prison for murder or a drug offense, she is most likely codependent. Either she got tired of being controlled and killed her partner, or she didn't know how to say no when her partner demanded that she involve herself with drugs. That is a codependent person. If you don't know how to say no to your spouse or to your boyfriend or to your girlfriend, usually it's the boyfriend that's persuading the female. So if you don't know how to say no, then you're codependent. Melody Beastie, in her book, Codependent No More, defines a codependent person as one who has let another person's behavior affect her and who is obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. They are what? Obsessed with controlling that person's behavior. Now, I know some people like that. You know some people like that too. And they don't know how to say no. In talking to a female offender, one-on-one, listen carefully what she says. If you can determine that she is codependent, help her learn how to deal with it. Beastie recommends 3 ways to deal with codependent behavior. Number 1, help them to communicate clearly.
That's right.
Since codependent offenders often don't say what they mean, direct communication will have to be a new and learned skill. Teach them that negatives don't have to be vague, that it's okay to say no, such as, no, I don't want to. When he asks you to go do some drugs, when he asks you to go sell some drugs, say, no, I don't want to. Tell her that. Or I will not allow you to manipulate me.
That's right.
She doesn't know how to do these things. So you teach her how to do these things. Number 2, help them to express anger constructively. They don't know how to be constructive in expressing their anger. To a codependent female offender, anger is usually a cover for hurt feelings or fear. She's either so hurt that she doesn't know how to say no, or she's so afraid that she won't say no. Teach her how to take responsibility for her own anger and how to express that anger against another person constructively, such as, I get angry when you ask me to do that. Or, when you do, I feel angry, I feel disappointed, or I feel hurt. All of that. She doesn't know how to do this. If you're codependent, you are operating on a level outside of the normal person's understanding. You're operating from a level that you don't know how to say no. Number 3, help them to distinguish between love and addiction. There is a difference between love and addiction. This is difficult because in all likelihood, she has experienced only addicted male-female relationships. That's all she knows. Addicted male-female relationships. So help her to distinguish what is love and what is addiction. Because she has the two mixed. And she doesn't know one from another. It may be possible for you to describe healthy relationships in your own life or in your own family, or to ask her about friendships that she has experienced. One way to begin the conversation is, I wonder if you've ever known someone who encouraged you to grow. Most likely, she's not known anyone that have encouraged her to grow. Now, I realize, I don't mean any offense, ladies, but I realize there may be some women here that are codependent and you didn't know it until today. Don't raise your hand. But I'm telling you how to get away, how to break away from that codependency. I wonder if you've known someone who wasn't jealous. Because a person that tries to control you is jealous. And the person that tries to control you doesn't want you to grow. He wants you to stay subservient. And this is what most women in prison are. They are subservient and they don't want to grow because the man has told them, you're fine like you are, baby. Don't grow. Why? Because he feels sorry. He feels upset that if you grow, then somebody else is going to want you. So he's jealous. I wonder if you've ever known someone who didn't mind if you had different interests than theirs. A man wants you to have the same interests that he has if he wants to control you. I wonder if you've ever known someone who wasn't threatened when you had other friends. You know, if I got married tomorrow, I'd tell her, look, I've got lots of female friends. Can you deal with it? And she may tell me, well, I've got lots of male friends. Can you deal with it? I can. Because I'm not afraid that she's going to leave me. I'm not jealous of what she is or what she may become. So I don't want anybody dependent on me. That's what codependent actually breaks down to. I don't want anybody dependent on me for their lifestyle. I wonder if you've ever known someone who was open and honest with you. Because a man that is not open and honest with you is out to control you. Gentlemen, remember, we're talking about ministry to female prisoners here. But it also works with women in our church that are codependent. I know some. I wonder if you've ever known someone who trusted you. I trust you. As a chaplain in a woman's prison, I tell those ladies, I trust you to do the best that you can. I want you to grow to your full potential. I had a woman come to me 3 weeks ago, and she said, Chap, she said, my husband called me up, and I told him that I'm growing, and he said, no, don't do that. Why did he not want her to grow? Because he was jealous. He wanted to continue to control her. Also, just naming characteristics of an addictive relationship may help a female offender recognize that love is not, such as some people think, love is not preoccupation with another person's behavior. Love is not preoccupation with another person's behavior. This is ministering to them. You may not realize that. You may say, well, I want to know about how I can give the Bible to them. No, ministering to women is totally different from ministering to men. Totally, as you'll see. Love is not dependency on another person for self-esteem. Men in prison, they have a high self-esteem. They don't need anybody to build them up. But women need to be built up because they've been torn down by men in society. They've been now torn down by the prison system, so they need to be built up. Love is not jealousy or possessiveness. That's not love. Love is not an inability to handle separations. Love is not demanding proof of love. You know, some people, a boyfriend or a husband, while they're in prison, they say, well, honey, if you love me, then you'll call me more often. That's not proof of love. And then if he's expecting her to call him, what is he doing? Is he going to see her? Is he writing her a letter? You know, women in prison, although they have all this fancy stuff going on today about video conferencing and JPEG, email, they have all that stuff, women still love to receive letters. Women in prison still love to receive letters. Love is not one's needs being sacrificed for another. Women, you don't need to sacrifice your needs for a man. Your needs are apparent. If anything, gentlemen, you might get mad at me, if anything, he needs to sacrifice some for you. Keep in mind, it is usually more embarrassing for women than men to be locked up for criminal activity. usually more embarrassing. They suffer tremendous shame, depression, guilt, and self-contempt. This is how women in prison do. This is how they feel. They feel shameful. They feel depressed. They feel guilty. And they feel contempt about themselves. There also tends to be a greater family shame dynamic than for male offenders. This, along with the family's anger, is often shown by their refusal to visit or write. Women get far fewer visits than men do. Why? Because the family, the mother-in-law, the father, the father-in-law, the brother, the sister, they are ashamed to go visit you most of the time. Not all the time. And then they're mad at you. They're angry with you for what you have done. Women don't do that. That's how they think. But let them get in that situation. They might do some of the same thing. Female offenders in the United States do not like or respect themselves. They have been both abused and abusers. They feel guilty for the things that they have done, and they feel guilty for getting caught. They are mothers who cannot care for their children. So they see themselves as unfit mothers. That's how they see themselves. Some of them think they are good mothers. Why? Because their children come to see them. And some of them, the majority of them, think, I'm not a good mother. That's why I'm here. So your job, ministering to them, is to help build them up again. Female offenders usually are more verbal and open to sharing their thoughts and emotions than men. Women are more open to sharing what they think, and they're more open to sharing their emotions. Men, for the most part, don't know how to share emotions. They're also more comfortable with seeking the support of those around them. This is why you have the prison family unit. You actually have a woman that takes the role as the husband. You have another woman that takes the role of the wife. You have one or two more women that take the role of the children because they're younger than these women. That's known as the prison family. Because women love family. And so they get all involved with these other women in a family-type relationship. And incidentally, in today's world, this is sad, but in today's world, you cannot even bring up the subject of homosexuality when you go inside of the prison. In a Bible study or in a sermon, you cannot bring it up. There's a possibility you'll get thrown out. 9 times out of 10, they will put you out if you bring that up. Why? Because the Supreme Court has said that same-sex marriage is legal. And so the prison system has taken that another step to say that if you engaged in a homosexual relationship in the institution, that's okay. Remember this. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. You can go in and talk all about Jesus. You can go in and say all the nice things that are found in the Bible. Doesn't amount to a hill of beans unless you show them that you care. And showing them that you care means being there on time when you said you're going to be there. Showing them that you care also means providing toiletries if the institution will permit it, especially at Christmas time, such as makeup, shampoo, hand cream, bars of soap, deodorant, lotion, and lipstick. This helps them to feel more feminine, especially when they know that men are coming in. They want to fix their hair real nice. Oh, I saw a woman at the prison. I preached at the prison last Sunday. A woman came in with her hair all duded up, and I'm looking at her. And at the end of the service, I said, "How'd you do that? How'd you do that with your hair? I've never seen people fix hair like that." She says, "Oh, there's a woman here that fixed that for me." Translated, that means that my husband fixed it for me. A woman is her husband in prison. They want someone to listen to them. They also want someone to love them, or at least like them. At least show them that you like them, even if you don't love them. Now you can love, ladies, you can love another woman without endangering your sexuality. Men, you can love a woman without endangering your getting thrown out of the prison. This necessitates a different approach when working with the female offender versus working with the male offenders. A different approach. Remember, I told you, working with women is totally different than working with men. So what is that approach? A personal approach, or touching their hearts. You've got to touch their hearts. You've got to minister to their heart and not to their head. You got to minister to their heart. The personal approach does not mean doing a one-on-one Bible study. That's not the personal approach I'm talking about. It means being able to listen. To do what? To listen and understand their past as well as their feelings. You can never understand you can never minister to them effectively if you don't understand their past as well as their feelings. I told you what their past was when we started. Their past, in most all cases, is physical sexual abuse when they were under 18 years of age. So you've got to understand their past, even though you may have not experienced it, but you also have got to understand their feelings about their past. Women in prison bear a double burden of punishment if they are mothers. They bear a double burden of punishment. Why? Because their children do time with them. Their children do time with them. Studies link parental incarceration with problems that include poor school performance, aggression, emotional problems, and post-traumatic stress. You've heard of PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Most female prisoners have PTSD. Young children may be seriously traumatized by the sudden separation from their mothers. This may affect development, physical, mental, and emotional, for the rest of their lives. Children, how many of you have heard, I just want to show hands, have heard about this separating the children from their mothers at the border? You've heard of that, okay? One child was separated from his mother for 4 months. Now he won't receive a call from her. He's 4 years old. He won't receive a call from her. When she sees him, he doesn't even want to go to her. This is the danger with women going to prison, being separated from their children. Studies demonstrate that regular visits between children in foster care and their mothers enhance the children's emotional, scholastic, and social adjustment to placing. So, whoever the caretaker is should take those children to the prison to see their mother. Children